Welcome to yet another episode of AI Talks with Chris and Nita. A beautiful Monday morning, I must say. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the fascinating world of machine learning libraries. You shared a document with us called Libraries in Machine Learning, and we're excited to break it down and uncover those golden nuggets of knowledge just for you.
Yeah, it's like opening a treasure chest of tools. Really think of machine learning as this amazing ability for computers to learn from data, to find hidden patterns and make predictions. These libraries we're talking about, they're the sets of tools that make that whole process possible and, more importantly, much easier for us humans to manage.
Okay, so instead of starting from scratch every time, like trying to build a house with your bare hands, these libraries give us pre-built functions and frameworks to work with. That makes sense, especially when you consider how complex machine learning can get. The document mentions things like data preparation and visualization as well. Sounds like these libraries cover a lot of ground.
Absolutely. Imagine trying to analyze a data set with millions of entries. It would be incredibly tedious to do that manually. Libraries like Pandas, for example, allow you to manipulate and analyze data efficiently. They're like having a super-powered spreadsheet program designed specifically for the kind of data we encounter in machine learning.
Pandas, got it. So it's not just about the algorithms themselves, it's also about having the right tools to wrangle the data in the first place. Now, the document lists quite a few popular libraries, some of which I've definitely heard of, like TensorFlow and PyTorch. They almost sound like celebrities in the machine learning world. What makes them so popular?
Well, they've earned their fame for a reason. TensorFlow, for example, is like the powerhouse when it comes to deep learning. Remember how we talked about facial recognition on your phone? That's powered by deep learning. And TensorFlow is one of the leading libraries that makes those kinds of complex systems possible.
So TensorFlow is the go-to for things like image recognition and natural language processing because it can handle those massive amounts of data and complex calculations needed to train computers.
Precisely. And then you have PyTorch, which is known for its flexibility and ease of use, particularly when researchers are experimenting with new ideas. It uses something called a dynamic computation graph, which allows them to tweak models on the fly.
So that's why the document says it's good for prototyping. It lets you experiment and iterate quickly, kind of like sketching out an idea before you commit to the final design.
That's a great analogy. And while those two are giants in the field, we shouldn't forget about scikit-learn. It's fantastic for those just starting their machine learning journey because it focuses on core algorithms and concepts.
So if someone's feeling a bit overwhelmed by TensorFlow and PyTorch, scikit-learn is a good place to dip their toes in the water and get a feel for the fundamentals.
Exactly. It provides the building blocks, the essential tools to grasp the core concepts of machine learning without getting lost in the complexities of deep learning right away.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm also curious about Hugging Face, which the document mentioned as being almost like a social network for machine learning. That sounds pretty cool.
It is. It's a platform where people share pre-trained models, data sets, and even code. It's like a giant collaborative hub for the machine learning community, constantly evolving and growing. You can find anything from cutting-edge language models to tools for specific tasks like sentiment analysis or translation.
So it's not just about building your own tools from scratch. It's also about leveraging the collective knowledge and resources of this amazing community. This is reminding me of open source software development, where people contribute to shared projects.
You're spot on. The open source nature of Hugging Face is a big part of its success. It allows for rapid innovation and makes machine learning more accessible to a wider range of people, not just those working in large tech companies.
I'm starting to see how this whole ecosystem of libraries works together. We've got these powerful libraries like TensorFlow and PyTorch for heavy-duty tasks, scikit-learn for getting started with the fundamentals, and then something like Hugging Face to connect with the community and share resources. Pretty impressive.
It really is. What's fascinating to me is that this is just the tip of the iceberg. There are many more libraries out there, each with its own strengths and specialties, catering to different needs and skill levels within the machine learning world.
Well, that leads perfectly into what we'll be exploring next. We've laid a great foundation by understanding the big players, but I'm eager to delve deeper into some of the more specialized libraries and how they fit into this intricate landscape. Stick with us as we uncover even more gems in this fascinating world of machine learning libraries.
Before we jump into the more specialized libraries, I think it's worth highlighting just how much thought goes into designing these tools. It's not just about throwing a bunch of functions together. There are real considerations about usability, performance, and making sure they're robust enough to handle real-world applications.
That makes sense. I mean, if these libraries are being used to power things like self-driving cars or medical diagnoses, there's no room for error. Everything has to be carefully designed and tested.
Absolutely. And the choice of which library to use often depends on the specific task at hand. For instance, if you're working on something that requires lightning-fast calculations like high-frequency trading or real-time image processing, you might consider a library like JAX.
JAX, that's one we haven't talked about yet. What makes it so fast?
Well, JAX is designed to take full advantage of modern hardware, particularly those specialized processors called GPUs and TPUs. They're built for parallel processing, which means they can handle many calculations simultaneously.
So it's like having a team of mathematicians working on a problem at the same time instead of just one person doing it all sequentially.
Exactly. And JAX is particularly good at leveraging that parallel processing power to speed up things like training deep learning models. It's like having a supercharged engine for your machine learning projects.
Got it. So if speed is your priority, JAX is worth checking out. Now, the document also mentions Keras, and it seems like that one is connected to TensorFlow somehow.
That's right. Think of Keras as a more user-friendly interface for TensorFlow. It simplifies a lot of the complexities of building and training neural networks. You can create sophisticated models with just a few lines of code, which is great for beginners or for rapidly prototyping new ideas.
Ah, so it's like having a simplified dashboard that makes it easier to control the powerful engine underneath, which is TensorFlow in this case.
A perfect analogy. And then we have some libraries that have been around for quite a while, like Shogun. It's known for its ability to handle very large data sets and its support for a wide range of programming languages, making it quite versatile.
Shogun. That sounds like a seasoned warrior in the machine learning world. It's been battle-tested and can handle anything you throw at it.
And then on the other end of the spectrum, we have relative newcomers like LightGBM developed by Microsoft. It's gained popularity for its efficiency, especially when dealing with massive data sets.
So if Shogun is the veteran warrior, LightGBM is the agile newcomer who's quick on their feet and can handle large-scale battles with ease.
That's a great way to put it. And this diversity of libraries is one of the things that makes the field so dynamic. There's always something new to learn, a new tool to explore, and a new problem to solve.
It's like having a toolbox filled with all sorts of specialized tools, each designed for a specific purpose. The key is knowing which tool to reach for depending on the job at hand.
Precisely. And just as a carpenter wouldn't use a hammer to tighten a screw, a machine learning practitioner needs to select the right library based on the nature of their data, the complexity of the problem, and the desired outcome.
Okay, so we've gone from the big names like TensorFlow and PyTorch to more specialized libraries like JAX, Keras, Shogun, and LightGBM. It's clear that there's a library out there for just about every need and skill level, from beginners to seasoned experts. But let's say someone is listening to this and feeling a bit overwhelmed by all these choices. What advice would you give them?
I would say, don't let the vastness of the ecosystem intimidate you. The first step is to identify what you're passionate about. What problems are you trying to solve with machine learning? What kind of data are you working with? Once you have a clear goal in mind, you can start narrowing down your options.
That's great advice. Start with your passion and the problem you want to solve, and then let that guide your exploration of the different libraries. It's like choosing the right ingredients for a recipe.
Exactly. And just like learning to cook, it takes time and practice. There are plenty of resources available online, from tutorials to documentation to online courses that can help you get started.
And don't forget about the amazing communities like Hugging Face, where you can connect with other machine learning enthusiasts, ask questions, share your work, and learn from others' experiences.
Absolutely. The machine learning community is incredibly welcoming and supportive. Don't be afraid to reach out, ask questions, and collaborate with others. That's one of the best ways to learn and grow in this field.
I love that emphasis on community. It makes the whole journey less intimidating and more enjoyable. So to recap, we've explored a wide range of libraries, from the powerhouses of deep learning to the specialized tools for speed usability and handling massive data sets. We've also touched on the importance of choosing the right library for the task at hand and highlighted the amazing resources and communities available to help you along the way.
And as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to leave our listener with one final thought. As you explore the world of machine learning libraries, remember that they're not just lines of code. They represent the culmination of years of research and collaboration by brilliant minds.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's easy to take that for granted when you're using these tools. It's like we're standing on the shoulders of giants.
Exactly. And as you dive deeper into this field, you'll start to appreciate the ingenuity and creativity that goes into designing these libraries. You know, the clever algorithms, the elegant solutions to complex problems.
Yeah, and the fact that they're constantly evolving and improving, it's really remarkable.
And speaking of evolution, remember that you're not alone on this journey. There are tons of resources out there to help you learn and grow, like online courses, tutorials, and communities like Kaggle and Hugging Face.
All those communities are gold mines.
Yeah.
They're like having a support group and a team of mentors all rolled into one.
And don't forget the power of hands-on experience.
Yeah.
Just dive in, experiment, make mistakes. That's how we learn.
Yeah, don't be afraid to break things. That's part of the fun.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of machine learning libraries, what's the one thing you want our listeners to take away from this conversation?
Good question. I think the biggest takeaway for me is that machine learning is a journey, a constantly evolving landscape with endless possibilities. So just be curious, stay engaged, and keep learning.
Beautifully said. I couldn't agree more. So to our listeners out there, we encourage you to take that first step. Pick a library that sparks your interest. Explore the resources and see what you can create. And remember, the machine learning community is here to support you every step of the way.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So until next time, happy learning, everyone.